Well, it looks like I found another jacket that doesn't do terribly well on video, but that's okay. Well, we'll see how it goes. So another in my series of lead generation strategies, and so this is a good one. I like this as a lead generation strategy. It's direct mail. It's not something I would lead with because it's an expensive lead generation strategy. So generally, when we start real estate, we want to lead with revenue. So we're going to do all the lead generation strategies that don't cost very much money, right? And then move into the stuff once we have accumulated some wealth. We go, okay, well, this is working. Let's see if I can figure out a different way to market myself. Then maybe direct mail is for you. Now, eventually, right now, my direct mail is mostly free. And the reason I say that is because I sell some ads on the back for a lender and for an insurance company. And so whenever it's time for me to do my mailings, I go to them and say, hey, I'll put you on the back for this much. I'll put you on the back for this much. And they say, yeah, because I send them both a lot of business, right? And so my lender is willing to help me do this marketing because he knows if it's successful, I'm sending my clients to him. And he's got some marketing money that he's got to spend anyway. He may as well spend it with somebody that he knows is going to have some return on investment. Isn't that right? Yeah. So I can sell the ads for about as what it cost me to do the whole mailing. And so now the mailing for me doesn't cost me very much money at all. A lot of time putting them all together, but not a lot of money. But when I first started, that wasn't the case. I didn't have anybody out there that was willing to invest in my business because I hadn't invested in theirs yet. Okay, so I wish I had an example. I don't have a hard example of one right here in my office just yet. I'll tell you what. In the group here, I have a button, a section called Files, and I'll upload a couple of those recent, maybe not recent, some of the mail pieces that I've done in the past. I'll put a couple of them up there so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. And I think I do, if that looks right to you, 6 by 11, 11 by 6, something like that, which is the largest you can print for the least price. Anyway, you'll see an example of it. But let's talk about the ins and outs of direct mail. So this is a lead generation strategy where you are trying to convert a neighborhood into your neighborhood, right? You're not just going to do a direct mail piece, probably around a listing that you have, and just say, hey, here's a listing, and then move on and do a direct mail piece around another listing. Although it's not a terrible idea, but that's not what I'm talking about here. When I'm talking about a lead generation strategy, direct mail, I'm picking a certain number of houses or a neighborhood or an area, and I'm inundating them with my mail so that they know that I'm the guy in that neighborhood. That's the direct mail strategy that I'm talking about here. So here's some things I want you to consider. One is it's going to be in your best interest if the direct mail isn't always about real estate, right? We want to send out some value in our direct mail. So when they get it in their mailbox and they pull it out, it's not just, oh yeah, another thing from Jay, and they throw it away. Although that still may be very likely what they're going to do, but at least they're going to say, Jay, the realtor, sent me something else, and that's about all I really need them to do, right? But if I can send them some value, then they're going to spend some time on that piece of mail. For example, I live in a little town called North Kansas City, Missouri, and we have this beautiful park called Mackin Park, and the Parks Department puts together a series of music video. Of musical events, right? They have one, I think, a Friday night concert, and then they have one that's noon every Friday, noon, I think, if I remember correctly. And when it's time for those to come out, the city will put a list of all of the bands that are coming for the next series, right? So I'll go to the website and I'll get it, and I'll design my direct mail piece that says, here's what's coming to Mackin Park this series, right? This month. I think they do it all summer. And so that's a piece of value that they get. They pull and go, oh, look, so-and-so is going to be here then, and so-and-so is going to be here then. They may actually even keep that. That'd be great. Put it up on the refrigerator or whatever. So add some value that you're going to send to them. Maybe it's a little thing about a new business that just came to town, and tell them a little bit about that. It's okay to do some real estate stuff. I'll send sort of a market update of what houses are selling for in the area. That's okay. That's real estatey, but it's still value. But what I'm trying to say is not every single piece on one side says, you should really use Jay Swearingen because he's the best, says so-and-so. And then on the back is my phone number and information. And the next one is the same and the same and the same. That's not going to do it. We're going to have to add some value to their lives. And it's up to you to figure out what that value is for that neighborhood. Be creative and think about what that neighborhood might be interested in, and then provide them with that value. That's the way to do it. So the front of mine is always the value, whatever that happens to be. And then the back is a little bit about me. I think I say your neighborhood realtor, 5-star rated, et cetera, et cetera. And it has all the ways to contact me. And then on the back, I have this little, you'll see it if you go over to the files. It says Jay's Partners in Excellence. And I have a little block, and my lender and my insurance agent were able to design whatever they wanted in that little block. And I mail it out with them. Okay. Let's talk about the cost. If you're putting a budget together safely, let's count on 65 cents a piece. You can probably do it for cheaper than this, but let's count on 65 cents a piece for every one printed, mailed, and delivered. So you're going to find a print house that also mails. You'll find them all over the place. You can take them to designers. Sometimes they'll do the design themselves. You pay a little bit more for that. Or you can design it in Canva, which is what I do. And send them the artwork. And then for roughly 65 cents a piece, they're going to print them for you, cut them, label them, put them in the mail, and send them out. That's probably a good rule of thumb. Like I said, if you do more and consistently, you can get them for less than that. But let's count on that for your budgeting processes. How often do you need to mail these things? So right now I mail them every 3 weeks. And I'll tell you that reasoning behind that. I started out doing it every 5 or 6 weeks. And that wasn't enough. People weren't recognizing it. So I went to every month. I was doing one every month. And I thought that was working pretty well. And then I heard one of my coaches say that try it for every 3 weeks and just see what happens. And now I do it every 3 weeks. And it has made a difference. And it's all anecdotal evidence. But it seems like now people say to me more, hey, I got that mail, or I saw that thing there. Thanks for sending me the whatever, right? That I wasn't getting at once a month. So every 3 weeks is where I'm at now. But when I started out, I did one piece every week for some number of weeks. And I think I want to say 8 or maybe 10 weeks. I did a new piece every week because I wanted to really get it off the starting block with a bang, right? Bang, wham, wham. Really inundate them so they could see, man, Jay Swearingen. There's too much, right? If I do every week for a year, they're gonna be like, oh my God, I'm never gonna use this guy again. He just fills up my mailbox. So there's a fine line. But I did some number of weeks in the beginning just to really get it out there, and they were really good quality stuff, really good value. A couple of them were pretty funny, and then slowed down into every 3 weeks. I think, like I said, I think every month now is not quite enough to really get into their brains. Every 3 weeks, I think, is. And if you wanted to do, every 25 days or something to save a little money, I guess that'll probably work as well. And it's a long-term strategy, as you know, and it's expensive, as you can see. This isn't something that's going to turn around immediately. They're not going to get it your direct mail piece and just go, oh my God, thank God there's a realtor in my neighborhood. Go call Jay because I wasn't even thinking about selling my house. But, I got this mail piece and now I think I will sell just to help Jay. That's just not the way that it works. It's just like you see this Chevrolet commercial over and over and over again. You're not in the mood for you're not in the market for a Chevrolet, but boy, do you see Chevrolet commercials. But then that one time you're in, looking for a new car and you see that Chevy commercial, you're like, Chevy, that's 0% financing for 72 months. I might go jump on that. So that's the way this works too. It's just inundating them with good quality pieces of information from their local realtor. And then hopefully over time, if somebody says, I'm thinking about selling my house, do you know a realtor? Oh boy, well, Jay is in town. He's the one that sends me all this stuff. You can certainly call him. Or hopefully when they need it to move, they'll remember because I've been inundating them. And believe me, this isn't something that I just thought up. This is a quality way of doing lead generation. Many, 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 many real estate agents do this, and I have absolute proof that it works. Right, the return on investment is very large. The investment is large, but the return on investment is large. As you can imagine, spend 65 cents a piece. You send 400 or 500 out. So what is that per month or whatever? And it takes you 4, 5, 6 months to get a hit. And then you sell a $300,000 house, and all of a sudden you've made all your money back and then some, right? And so it's a lot of outlay. That reminded me of something else to say. What was it? Put it together, spend a lot. Oh yeah, just the return. How long it's going to take? This is not quick. So, and I can't tell you how fast it's going to be. But I can tell you that it works. I can tell you that if you're consistent with it, it works. And I should do a whole video on consistency, because this whole business is consistency. This entire thing that we do here is, you're going to be good at it if you do it consistently, and you're not going to be good at it. No matter how good you are at it, it's not going to work if you're not consistent, right? YouTube videos, knocking on doors, direct mail, open houses, everything takes consistency. And this is one of those things. So you got to just commit to it. You got to have a budget for it, and you just got to commit to that budget for half a year before you even consider that, before you even think that you're gonna get some business out of it. All right, this is a pretty short video, but there wasn't a whole lot to say about direct mail. Put a message together, get it out to pick a neighborhood. Oh, pick a neighborhood. Let's talk about that for just a second. Because when I first started this, I picked a neighborhood that was just way too big, just giant. It was costing me a mint. So how many households do you need to mail to? That's a good question. So I would say, I mean, you can do as few as you want, but go to the MLS, and if you're picking a neighborhood, try to pick a neighborhood that houses are selling in that neighborhood, right? So if you've got 400 houses in that neighborhood, and you go and see how many have sold in the last 4 years, and it's only 10, well, there's just not enough turn in that neighborhood to keep you in the money, right? So you need a pretty good turn. Let's say 10% of the houses sell in the neighborhood every year. That's probably a pretty good rule of thumb. And then the rest is set on how much money you can spend. So more than 100, I would think, but less than 300. 300 is just too big. If you're rich and you're doing this and you're doing it well, you can grow. You can do your whole city if you want to. But as far as return on investment and starting this game, boy, 300 is going to just be expensive. And so start out with 100, 150, and then until it works, and then you get a couple of sales, and then if you need to grow that neighborhood, you can. And you grow that neighborhood, you can, and grow that neighborhood, you can. Yeah, that's the way to do it. All right. Listen, that's for me for this one. Only 12 minutes, 13 minutes, not too shabby. And I'll do some more on other lead generation strategies coming up shortly. Thanks for joining the group, and we'll see you soon.